Hey guys, it's Wendy here with Wendy's Plans, and today I thought I would bring you a video and talk about why I like to take tour groups when I travel sometimes. Not all the time, but usually it is when I'm overseas or international travel. I like to use a tour group. I have used a tour group in the United States, and to be honest, it's just it's it's so convenient to be able to go online or to pick up a phone and call someone and say this is the tour I want to go on because it's got everything that I want to do. It's in an area I want to go. I don't have to research hotels. I don't have to research restaurants. I don't have to research how I'm going to travel. I don't have to research any of that stuff. And so it's just the convenience of being able to say, for example, I want to go to Italy and not have to sit down and figure out all of that stuff. So that is one of the biggest reasons I love using a tour group. Two, it's the money. I can, for me, I'm not going to spend all of my time trying to find a nice hotel at a reasonable rate. And so, what happens with booking a tour group is that they already have contracts in place with these hotels that are four and three, 4 and 5 star hotels um, that are really nice places to stay that I wouldn't choose normally. So they will get a very fair rate for these expensive hotels, and then they are my tickets to the attractions that the tour group is going to see is already incorporated in that. A lot of the, depending on what tour group you take and where you're at, um, most of your meals can be included in that. This one that we're going on to Italy, there was one big meal. It's called a traditional dinner in Tuscany that we paid extra to be able to do this. But most of the time, at least your breakfast, some of your lunches, some of your dinners are included in it. Now, there will be some meals that I will have to purchase, and those are on the days that I have free time. And usually, when you have free time, they allow you to explore the area, and you can stop in any restaurant you want and eat. So there are times when you're on your own to do things. Um, but for me, not having to book the hotel, book the tickets to, I don't know what requires tickets or not. It's just a lot of research. And they have contracts that allow them to get to make a profit, but to get me a nicer place at a reasonable rate. And that is all encompassing into that amount. Another reason I like to do it is because I'm single. I'm a widow, so I'm traveling by myself. Most of the time, I'm traveling with Jan or Jan and Daphne as I am going to Italy. Um, but we each stay in our own separate rooms as a single, and we do pay that upcharge. Um, the tour for Italy, because we booked it when we did, they waived the single person fee, so I'm getting it at the same price that anybody else if there was two people in a room. So that single person in a two-person room would pay. Let me explain that. So if there's two people in a room, let's say that's a husband and a wife, they give a price per person for the tour. And of course, it's going to be a lesser amount per person because they've got two people in the room. So when they're single, they charge an upcharge for that because nobody else is going to be in that room with me in each hotel stay. So there's always a single upcharge. So they waived that for us for Italy. So we got right at the last ones that they had available for that. So I was excited for that. Um, so I do pay a little bit of a upcharge if it's required, and but it is worth it for me because if I'm single, I'm still traveling with people, and I feel safer. And the other part of that too is that I get to meet people. You're on a bus with these people, and we usually book a bus that has what they call small groups. And so there's maybe 20 people on the bus, not 100. I have been on a bus in Ireland that had that, I don't know, 60, 80 people on there. And it was fine, guys. That is the tour that I met Jan and Daphne on. Um, but all the other tours that I have been on really, truly have been um, smaller amounts of people. And so you just kind of get to know each other. I mean, you can't be together all the time and not start developing friendships with people. So that is just the perfect thing for me. When I was in Ireland in 2018, was the big tour, and I met Jan and Daphne right at the beginning of the tour at the dinner that we had, the meetup before the tour actually began, and we just clicked. Um, Me and Jan just had a lot in common, and we just clicked, guys. I just don't know what else to say other than we just have so much in common, even with Daphne, which is her sister. And from there, we just kept in touch, and we have continued to um, go on vacations and do things together. Now, whenever we go, we don't always do a tour. Um, but it is nice when you're single. If I didn't know I was going to meet them when I left, so it was very nice to have met them on the tour, and we had all free time together. We spent it all together, which was really nice because I had somebody to kind of help navigate and do things with. So it was really nice. The other reason I like to do a tour, especially in other countries, is because driving. I'm just going to throw it out there, guys. Driving in another country scares me because most of them, they drive on the other side of the road. um, I don't know my way around. I don't know their driving rules and laws and all of that. And it is the expense. I know when I was in Ireland, we did actually look at getting a car. And even though our insurance in the United States says they will cover car rentals, most everybody's insurance will cover the car rental. Um, in Ireland, they don't accept that. You have to take the car insurance on the car rental, and it was really, really expensive. And then the gas in other countries can be very expensive too, and they break it down into um, half liters or liters. I'm not sure. It's like a half a liter or something. It's really it's a lot of money for the gas in those countries. So for me, not having to go through the hassle of renting a car and be responsible for the fuel and the insurance and all of that, it's worth it to be able to be on a bus. Yes, I'm on a bus with a lot of people, but they rotate you around, so you're always in a good place to see things. So everybody gets to sit at the front, everybody gets to sit at the back. You just move around. So for me, it's worth it to do a tour so that I'm not, guys, there's a little gnat that just flew by. Um, so that I'm not having to deal with all of that. Um, the fifth thing is booking. It's easy, guys. I'm not booking 5 different hotels. I'm not booking. Sometimes we book our flight through them. Sometimes I book my flight, but that's all I'm booking is my flight. They are getting me to and from the airport. They are, because they'll book that right in with your thing. You just pick out the one you want to go to, you call them, you book it, and then you can pay the deposit and then pay a little bit as you want to go. Now, for me, that's easier because I'm not taking out one lump sum out of my bank account. I can break that up into smaller chunks and pay that as I go. And for me, that's the best way for me because I don't have excess income that I can just throw it out there at one time. So for me, it is easier to pay that deposit and then just break it down into smaller chunks. 6, guys, they know the tour guides over there. This is what they do. This is where they live. They know the area. They know everything that you need to know. So if you're going out on a free day and you want to do something, they're going to tell you how to go, where to go, what to do, or this would probably be better, or they can guide you or give you suggestions like, oh, what can we do here for the day? What can we go and see and do and be able to be back in the time frame that I need to be back? They know this stuff. They know off the beaten path. They know the restaurants to go to. They know all of this stuff. I'm just going to go on recommendations from Instagram or social media, Facebook, whatever. And so I might not be getting the best recommendations, and you know, I want it from the locals and what to do. And when we go as a group, normally when you get to the location you're going, you're not waiting in a line. Your tickets are bought. They've already made arrangements. You go in through a special entrance, and all of that is taken care of. And you're not waiting in a lot of lines everywhere. So that is another. It's a big plus for me. And at the end, I will leave the names of the tour groups that I have used. There's one I can't remember it, and it was in the States. I think I remember it, but I will leave those to you. 7. As I said earlier, not all the time that I meet Jan for a vacation is booked through tours. If we're in the United States, mostly has been where we've gone, or when I've gone up and met her in Canada. We just plan our things that we want to do. So in the United States, we have gone I flew up to Canada. We toured around Winnipeg, and we saw a lot of stuff. We did a lot of things there, and that's her. She's in that province. That's one of the cities we went to. And so we did things there, me, her, and Daphne. And then when she came down to visit me, we toured Wilmington. We went up to a hockey game in Raleigh, and then we flew down to New Orleans. We knew we were going to New Orleans when she came down. She's a big hockey fan, and the Winnipeg Jets, I think, was playing the North Carolina Hurricanes. And so she definitely wanted to see that game. So we went to that, and then we flew out the next morning and went to New Orleans, and we had a blast. We booked, some things when we were there, like a food tour and um, a it's like a spooky tour. I don't know what it was. But we book our own things. We took a river, not a river, but a swamp tour. We just book whatever we want when we get there, and that's typically what we do. And we just do that when we get there. We did the same thing in Chicago. We met in Chicago. We got up and we just decided at breakfast each morning what we were going to do, and that's what we did. So, and we did that in Boston. Boston. Guys, I'm limited what I can wear right now because I just booked it out of um, Alabama ahead of the hurricane. But anyway, we don't always book a tour. The places that I have booked tours, um, twice I've been to Ireland and twice I've booked the same tour company, CIE Tours, and I'll leave that up above. They were amazing. That was the first tour I'd ever been on. They made it easy peasy. I'm just telling you. That was the first one that I knew this was the way for me to do international travel or to do big travels like this because I was a homebody until I started traveling as a retiree, but I had not driven in other states a lot. So it was a big step for me. And so CIE Tours was fabulous. I absolutely love them. I would highly recommend them. The second tour group that I used was, I think it was called Go Ahead Tours. I'm not really positive on that. And we had a very good results with them too. I've not had a bad result with any tour group. Some tour groups, for example, the one we're going to own now and the one that we did in Iceland, I think it was Go Ahead Tours in Iceland. I'm not absolutely sure. There are some excursions that they list that it's not part of the itinerary. For example, we went to a thermal pond, pool, whatever. It was kind of like Blue Lagoon, but it was not down in Reykjavik area. It was up in the north. Um, but it was the same thing. And that is not part of that tour. You could do whatever else you wanted to do there. You weren't locked in that that's what you had to do. But we wanted that experience, so we booked it. There were a couple of things like we wanted to do horseback riding. We booked that on our own through the tour group. It was just an excursion that was offered that you could do. So, um, the thing that I liked about CIE tours over um, every other tour company that I've used, with the exception of Caravan, um, you whatever was listed, that's where you went, and you didn't pay anything additional. You didn't have to book separate excursions, and so I like that better. So you need to review each tour company to figure out if that's the one for you. Now, when I say we, me and Christopher went to, we call it our Out West tour. We started in South Dakota. We went South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, just a little bit of Oregon, and Utah. It was 5 states that we went through. But we spent 2 nights in Yellowstone. Guys, that tour was worth it just to go into Yellowstone for 2 nights. We did stay at Old Faithful. It was amazing. And that was with Caravan Tours here in the States. And it was wonderful. Now, that was a big bus and it was full. But I did meet people from one lady, sweet lady that I just love from Israel, and then one that I just absolutely love from Australia. And so but there were people from other countries on this tour as well, seeing the United States. But it was fabulous. And that one, we did not pay for any of the extras like that. The one that we're using this time is called Globus, and they have been wonderful to work with. They have sent out emails updating us on things all the time, and I will let you know when I get back how it was when we got there. But so far, they have been wonderful to work with, and even for this tour, we're flying in 2 days early, and we're going to see some stuff. When we flew to Iceland, we stayed 2 days late after the tour, so you can kind of get a feel on your own. Once you're there and you've been on your tours and you know how things work, and you get comfortable. And so it was really nice in Iceland to spend those extra 2 days. So you can do a tour, you can tack on days front or back, and that'll give you your own true experience of what you want to see. If you have any questions about this, please leave them down below. The one thing I didn't say earlier, that when I was talking about the money, is that typically I find that if I book everything myself, I'm probably neck and neck with what the tour group is. I'm spending with them. I don't feel like I'm spending more money with a tour group than if I break it down and book it all myself, because they have contracts with these hotels and stuff that they will use them, and that guarantees the hotel business, and it guarantees them a better rate. And they have several of these hotels to choose from, so it does, money wise, I don't feel like I'm spending a whole lot more money, because I can tell you the hotel that we are staying in for the first 2 nights of the tour is the hotel that we booked 2 nights before we got there, and the cost of that hotel for 3 different hotels at that same price was 3/4 of what my tour cost. And that's not even figuring in the attractions, it's not figuring in the transportation, it's not figuring in the food that they provide. So right there in itself, I feel like we're getting a really good value for using the tour, and it's less stress on me. If you have any questions, guys, leave them down below. If it's something that I can answer, I'll be glad to do that. And I am by no means an expert on booking a tour. Maybe the next time that I book a tour, I will go step by step with that process with you guys. So again, if you have any questions, leave them below. I'll try to answer them, and leave me a bus on the comments if you got this far. And I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. And until next time, bye-bye.